Hello everyone, this is Diane. I am so pleased to be able to show this journal to you today. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. This is a design team project for Jackie at Rockwell Design Creations, and I will leave the link to this particular kit. This lady isn't part of the kit, but the flowers are. The kit is called Vintage Tailored Ladies. And it does feature some ladies in some tailored suits and coats and bright flowers and just really wonderful colors. So I will show you the pieces of the kit as we go through. I just used a plain red book cover, and the journal measures 5 3/4 by 9 1/4. The spine is 2 inches, and there are 120 pages front and back in the book. There are 3 signatures, and they are sewn in with a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. I created a new spine. It's chipboard and reinforced with Tyvek and fabric. So I'm really happy with the closure. I had done a video talking about how I wanted to design this journal, and I didn't want it to be frilly because the clothing is tailored and streamlined that is featured, but there are flowers, so I wanted it to look feminine, but I didn't want to just tie a seam binding bow around it like I often do. And I came across this, it was in this package, and it is a very heavy duty hook and eye, and it's not just metal, it is well, let me take it. I'll talk more about that when I take it off. I had a piece of stretchy elastic, and perfect for this journal. So I just hand sewed the closure, the hook and eye, onto the ends of the fabric or the elastic. I just folded the ends back and then sewed the pieces on. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but it is wrapped. It's not just metal, it is wrapped with some kind of a very thin black cord, I think. I don't know if you're seeing it, but anyway, it's just beautiful, and they're heavy duty, and I thought it was perfect. It's made for a fur coat. Well, fur and cloth coats, collars, and small fur pieces, it says. So I have one more set, and I just glued the bubble back onto it so I can keep track of those pieces, so I can do one more closure like this. There's lots of room for it it does fit on there nicely, but there's plenty of stretch left, so if you add more things to it's on there backwards, but I just want to show you. It fits nicely, but there's lots of stretch left. Okay, so I did a collage on the front. This is just a while you were out sheet, and the flowers and this green circle are from the kit. This is a die cut that I did with some lavender cardstock, and this is from a 1930s magazine, this cutout. I did use quite a few images from vintage catalogs and magazines, and I think that's all I want to say right now. Let's go in. I didn't have enough black fabric. It wasn't long enough to wrap all the way around, so I added this red. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say was I used the colors of the kit to choose the colors, which is what I normally do, but it was purple, reds, and greens, and blacks. So this one has some blue added to it, but that's okay. I added this striped paper on the end, and this is one of Jackie's labels. There's lots of labels in this kit. Some have a faded floral pattern, and some are just plain. And I'm sending the extra. These are the labels I didn't use, and I used quite a few of them. So I'm sending them with the journal. I also found this extra tag when I was cleaning up my table, so I'm just sending that. And I have some cut off pieces that I'm sending. So all of this comes with the book. Okay. And I didn't want a ruffly fabric trim on the edges, so I put this white lace with a point on it, and there is a black scalloped lace, and there's this lace And I think they all work nicely together. Here's another image from that old magazine, from another old magazine, and this is a slip, but it says, "Before a spring suit comes a perfect suit slip, white above the waist to underscore your dainty blouse, black below, in silhouette smooth, wrinkle-free, Celanese jersey, of course." On the front page of each signature, I did a collage with a magazine image and Jackie's flowers from the kit. I did some stenciling and some stamping. This is another page from the kit. It's got kind of a marbly neutral background and then the flowers. So I did include some flower images because of the flowers in the kit. This was just a fun little tuck spot. I added a glassine bag, and one of the tags, it says "Delightful," and another die cut and another of Jackie's labels. And I glued them together right here and then just glued it here and here so that it's all open and you can add elements. I had 2 pages left from the kit. This one was a lined page, so I just cut that so that you could have that for a journaling piece, and there's another card that comes with the kit. This is actually green parchment paper. In one of the videos I kept saying marbled, but it's a green parchment paper. I used this black striped paper, scrapbook paper, and there's one of Jackie's labels. I cut some pockets with a die that I have that does some shapes at the top, and it has a little stitched, like embossed, stitched element there. This is from a vintage catalog, and that's Jackie's. I made a tag, just covered a shipping tag with cut off pieces of the scrapbook paper, and this little blurb with this suit says, "The bright suit precisely fitted." Perfect for a tailored ladies' journal. There's one of the flower images that I added, roses. And there's a rose on the stationery piece, vintage stationery. Some of Jackie's papers are muted like this. You can definitely see the images very clearly, but they're muted enough that you can write over them. And some of them, the colors pop out and they're brighter. And I love this black border that she did around some of the background pages. There are 2 backing pages. One is just this marbled looking paper, and then one is that with the border. Here's some vintage graph paper. I used a little set from Sam Poole Designs, which I will link below, and made some fabric swatches. So the kit comes with this little piece that I folded around a piece of black embroidered satin and this lace, and I just clipped it onto the page. This is a gray parchment paper. Did another collage here with a vintage receipt and a Jackie's label and another image from a 1930s magazine. That's a pretty cool stamp. I like that. This is a piece of rice paper. I just left the strings. You can cut them shorter, tie it in a bow. I didn't want to tie it in a bow because I'm not doing flounces and bows and stuff in this journal, but you do what you want. And if you don't like the strings, you can just cut them shorter. There's a little faint stamped border on that page. And this pocket I did on a video. I showed how I did that on a video. It's cardstock, and it's a piece of glassine that came out of a photo album, and I pleated it and sewed it onto the cardstock and then added the ribbon, black and white striped ribbon. And this is a postage stamp. It's a real stamp, and I punched out a scallop square of purple cardstock to put it on. And it's a nice pocket, and there's a card that comes with the kit, and then another piece of extra page that I had. I had it that way. this is just a piece of scrapbook paper, scrapbook cardstock with a ledger on it, and a lady from a vintage magazine. And then here is one of the seed packet envelopes from Target back in the day. They don't have them anymore. But I love it that it has a window, and I liked the gray color with this book. And I just took one of Jackie's tags and put it onto a lavender card that I had stamped a background on. You can journal on the back. I won't take them all out. There's one in each signature, but I won't fuss with them as we get to the other signatures. I just added a strip of paper here. And here's another pocket made with cut off piece of fabric or paper, and ladies from a 30s magazine. And this lady from a vintage magazine, I believe that's from the 50s or 60s. And one of Jackie's cards. Second signature has this really elegant looking lady in a very fitted suit. She has a tiny, tiny, tiny waist. And I left this little bit down here that was on the bottom of the page. It was attached to her, and I left it because it says 1948. That was the year of the magazine. I think it was good housekeeping. Here's one of the brighter pages. There's another elegant lady. And a tag in the bag. Another leftover piece of the page. Another image from a vintage catalog. There's one of Jackie's labels up there and here. Put some corners, stamped corners there. Here's another of the swatch cards from Sampool Designs. It's in French, and it has this piece to fold over. And I just put in some samples of the lace that I used throughout the book. And clipped it on with a rose gold paper clip. Here's another pleated pocket. Oh, I forgot to add. I want to add little pieces to that. This is rice paper, and I pleated it up this way, but the tucks are deeper so that I can put stuff in here. And I just sewed it to red cardstock, and I left the card long enough that I could edge punch. Let's put some pieces in that. I have this tag in the back, and the back pocket is long enough for that. Let's see. This little botanical tag is cute. I put one of Jackie's labels in there and the extra floral stamps. I will add a few more pieces to fill that up. I'll get some more stuff out. There's a bridge score pad with one of Jackie's labels and this lady from an old magazine. And this is from an illustrated story in an old magazine. And this is another bridge score sheet. It was advertising cigarettes. There's another card inside that pocket. Or envelope. And here I did a belly band. It's the only belly band in the book, with a cut off piece of paper and this wide grosgrain ribbon. And I made this little booklet, and it's just got some lined paper inside it, quite a few pieces. You can put it in so that this tucks over like that, but it flops up, so I just put it in like that. You do what you want. And there's another tag behind it. And a third signature. This little tuck spot collage has a vintage button card with the buttons attached. I love these pockets with the shoes and purses. There's another corner stamp. And the third fabric swatch is a longer card with a fold over piece. Very beautiful. You could write back here, and I just used some reds and purples and black pieces that I had, and this is part of the sample kit too. I just stapled that little tag on there. And then this is a vintage note paper from the Barbizon Plaza Hotel in New York, Central Park South. And I just added a little lace here and one of the labels from the kit and a vintage slide mount with this little image from a magazine, and I glued on this vintage snap. And I didn't want it like poking through the paper, whatever paper was in front of it, so I just put it on so that it pops out as a little, like a little tab. And here is another of the pleated pockets with glassine. Another collage. There's some very fine grid on that paper there. And this is from a 1961 or 2 pattern catalog, McCall's Pattern. And another card inside that window envelope. And then here we have, I just constructed this side pocket with pieces I had on my table in a kind of geometric way. And I like the way it turned out. I remembered that I have to, I don't know if I just neglected to glue that and only glued this part, but I'm going to put a little glue in there to make sure it's all glued down. And there's the last tag that I made with my cut off papers. The classic suit cut on slimming lines is a good buy the year round. And on the back, I made a library pocket. This is made out of cardstock. And I cut the pocket longer than it needed to be and folded this part down just for an added element. I thought it kind of looked like a pocket on a suit jacket. And I added some brads, some scraps of paper, and I made this little tag to put in it. I stamped on the background and added this vintage image and this little merchandise tag. And I've tucked in, I'm going to erase the pencil mark there. It shows what I paid for it. But this is a vintage card of hooks and eyes. And I just tucked that in there. You can do with that what you want. So I have a couple more things to do in here to fill up those pleated pockets and glue this and erase that. But otherwise, it's done, and it is in my shop. Put this back on. And I love it, and I hope you love it. My shop is linked below if you're interested in checking it out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a creative day today. Bye-bye.